I want to ask about like ghost guns and what is a ghost gun and how often do you come across them and how often do you come across homemade ammunition?
Okay. Ghost guns are simply those guns that are considered untraceable because they don't have a serial number. ATF regulations in the United States require that serial numbers be placed on firearms, and
Right.
this occurred back in the 1960s. So ghost guns are simply firearms that don't have a serial number and cannot be traced generally. They are manufactured at home. And the most common way to do this is through 3D printing at this point. 3D
Mm,
printing allows individuals to print polymer frames for firearms and then purchase slides and barrels and extractors and ejectors that will fit inside or fit with this particular frame that they've printed. Or another way is to
mm,
simply buy what is called an 80% lower. And an 80% lower is basically a polymer receiver for a firearm that has certain holes that aren't drilled through. It's not a completed firearm,
right.
but what they do is they sell those because they're unregulated at this point. They can sell those, and the individual who is purchasing them can finish drilling whatever holes are necessary to insert the other parts. And then they would buy and purchase the other parts because the purchase of the individual parts is unregulated.
Right. Perfectly fine, technically then.
So perfectly fine for felons who aren't supposed to have firearms, they can still purchase these parts. So,
Right.
um, so that is the big issue with ghost guns
Mm,
at this point. They are increasing in prominence. I did not encounter that many when I was
right.
employed. I retired in 2017. So at that point, I had still not seen a big influx of them into the laboratory. But at this point, they are a prominent issue, especially in states that have heavier gun control
Right.
legislation than other states.
Okay. So that seems to be like, how do I state this question? Are ghost guns something you would find on like your maybe more average criminal, or is that more of your smarter criminal since you need a frame and have to kind of put it together and buy the parts? Or are those like are people doing that and then just throw them in circulation and selling them?
People are doing that, throwing them into circulation and selling them.
Mm,
So
okay,
there
okay,
are
okay.
individuals who are buying these, buying them in bulk, manufacturing them, and then selling them illicitly.
Okay. Right, right, right.
And
Um,
it's an issue with other nations as well that have a lot more restrictive gun control than the United States. This is an issue occurring everywhere.
mm. Is that so? Which one is more common, the 3D printed ghost guns or the 80% below ghost gun, or the 80% below ones?
I'm not really sure. At this
Mm.
point, I'd say it's a toss up because they're both pretty
No, yeah,
popular.
gotcha, gotcha.